right, that's great. Yes. Marion Koopmans, we're so happy to have you for this event of Inside Out. Thank you so much for your time and enthusiasm.
Happy
And
to be here.
you became quite a known person last year or in the last year, and we saw you on different talk shows to inform us about the situation with Corona. And do you think that all this social media and media attention has changed your work or maybe the way you work?
Yeah, well, a little bit. So the essence, the core of my work is not different, which is, I mean, it is about doing science. It's about, well, coordinating science. It's about writing grants and helping think through what we can bring to the table in a situation like this. Yeah. Of course, the balance is a little bit shifted because of the demands for translation of knowledge. And that comes, well, that's maybe visible in media, but it comes from working in something like an outbreak management team, yeah, or in advisory roles with the World Health Organization or the European Commission. So that's really what has changed the nature of my day-to-day agenda, if that's what you mean.
Well, I can imagine, and I was curious what it means for you personally. Do you approach your work in a different way?
Well, it is what it. Personally, it's it's a challenging time, like it's been for everyone, but it's also a time where, you know, in a sense, is energizing because everything you know needs to be used, which is nice. It's a challenge. It's you know, it's hard work, but that is, you know, that's nice.
Yeah.
And I think that's the difference. So at some point, work can become a bit of a routine. Well, this is never a routine. It's never it's a challenge. There's a lot of time pressure, but it's never dull.
No, I can imagine. And of course, you give advice with the knowledge that you have. What is for you the most difficult part of this process?
Well, the frustration that there's so much that we don't know. And so I mean, I thought I knew a lot about viruses and pandemics, but knowing is very different from experiencing it and having to build the ship while sailing, because that's how things are and continue to be to a certain degree. So it's also a humiliating experience. I mean, myself and also my team, we've been working on preparedness research for a long time, but there's only so much you can do. And that's important to recognize. You do what you can, but there's also a lot you cannot do. And that's so at times frustrating.
Yeah, you have to accept that as a fact, actually, right? Yeah,
and also be realistic about it, because that's part of. I think that's very different in this particular outbreak and pandemic than in previous outbreaks that I've been involved in that there is such a audience of people, because it takes so long, people really start to think along, want to, and that's all good, but it's also about managing expectations of what science really can do, which at times, of course, not everyone is very happy about research and what is happening with this pandemic, and then that's also projected onto scientists. How come you don't know? How come you don't agree? How come he says that she says that? We don't know. Apparently you scientists don't know it all. That kind of, which is what is science is about, but it's also something that is an important part of what we have to, I think, communicate.
Yeah, good. I really can imagine. That was actually why I was asking you about, with all this media and being in the spotlight thing. And well, today's theme is about identify unconscious bias and inequity and sharing experiences and stories, of course. And do you feel that as a woman in science, did you encounter inequity or unconscious bias during your career?
Oh yes, lots of it. Because my career has been going on for some decades by now, and I have been one of the few women in specific settings. So yes, there are biases still to this day. I remember a story where I was in a lineup of professors, and the beadle came in, or the chair of the committee came in and greeted every individual professor, and came to me and said, "And you are the wife of," things like that. So that's not happening anymore, but there are biases. But we personally all have biases, and it's important to be aware of them, I think.
Exactly. Yeah. And did you have a role model at that time? I mean, in the beginning of your career, and was there anybody you were seeing as your role model?
I was very impressed by the Minister of Public Health, Els Borst. That's when I was working at the National Institute of Public Health. And this was I did a program, a mentorship program. And I said, well, I would like to be mentored by a woman who is ahead of me in the career. And there was nothing between me and the Minister of Public Health. So that was interesting in two ways. Just demonstrating, like, guys, something is wrong here. But I was impressed by how authentic she was, and how close to her beliefs, and how authoritative, just by being who she was and being very clear in what her views were. So I thought that was always very impressive.
So that gave you the strength to stay with yourself and with your ideas?
Yeah, just by looking at someone like that. I didn't approach her. That was a little bit too far. I think role models are about people have very different styles that may or may not be the way you want to do things. And for me, that was a role model.
Yeah, good. And if you're thinking about tips for young and mid-career women in science, well, you just mentioned staying true to yourself and close to yourself. Is there anything else you can think of that you would say, well, in retrospective, this and this and that, those are really good things to think about?
Well, I think there is a lot of types of training in many different places. What I notice is that in some places and some individuals still feel like, oh, but I don't need that, and I would say just do it. It's really useful to take coaching, leadership skills, training, because it helps aside from the science and the stuff that you need to do and learn, and it really is good to every now and then look in the mirror, or talk to someone who provides a mirror to help you think through and decide, how do I want to do this? What is my way of doing things? And that's, I think that should be just entirely normal. I think that's important. And also to see the fun of that, because it is, I think this is something that should be part of the whole career. So where am I? Why am I doing this? Am I doing this? Am I in a routine? Do I still enjoy it? If not, why not? What I'm going to do about it? So those types of moments of reflection that really, I think, are important.
Yeah. Well, isn't it in anybody's life, and it's always good to have those moments, and very good advice. And what would be your personal message for the participants of this event, the Women and Active in Exact, Technical and Natural Science?
Enjoy the ride.
You just mentioned it.
Yeah. And it's so I think so what I notice is sometimes it's a sense of it's so hard, and almost a sense of being a victim. I think that's a situation to try to avoid. It's logical that people feel like that every now and then. I've personally felt like that every now and then.
Yeah.
But I think it's also good to embrace that scientific career development, or whatever choice people make. There's a lot of options out there, and it really starts with, every now and then reflecting, where do I want to be in this? So,
yeah. Well, I would like to thank you very, very much for this talk with you. And I wish you all the best of luck with all the future developments in your ride.
Yes, thank you. And you're welcome. And enjoy the rest of your meeting.
Thank you. Bye-bye.